Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's the radioactive pop with Danny Limelight, United Wrestling Network World Heavyweight Champion. And make sure you tune into the Alliance blog every week. You heard it here first. Straight from Poppy.
Hey guys, check this out. I am officially now sponsored by Dubby. Dubby is a clean energy drink made to give you focus with no crash. If you guys are like me, you're always needing a burst of energy, especially with one with no crash. Dubby contains vitamins, amino acids, a nootropic, and 150 milligrams of caffeine. It keeps me awake with no jitters, guys. Check it out. Merch link is in the bio. Dubby.
The pre-party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com, your number one source for news and information for the National Wrestling Alliance. I don't know why I'm talking funny. I've been on the road for 4 days now, so I'm kind of losing my mind a little bit. But hey, we've got the W, we've got the 10 pounds of replica. Daddy, we're on fire. We're on fire here in Nashville. Talking some wrestling with my pals, my friends, my confidants. What's up, everyone? How are you doing? You don't like that voice. Hey, I'm here in Nashville, Tennessee, losing my mind. So what's going on? You guys are showing up to talk wrestling, and I'm here for it. You got Media Mike, a.k.a. Demonetized Mike. What's going on, Mike? Wish you were here, bro. Willie says, now Tyrus isn't the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. He should live at Dairy Queen with Little Ted. you know, Willie, you're gonna have to get a new shtick now because Ding Dong the Witch is dead. I'm gonna miss you the most, Little Toto. Yeah, you guys heard it. You guys saw it. There's a video that has over 2,000 views now on my YouTube channel. Tyrus has retired, not just from the NWA, but from wrestling. I don't know exactly how to feel about that. And I'll be completely honest here, full disclosure. I'm not a Tyrus fan. Maybe you might know that, but I'm not a Tyrus fan. But I also feel kind of bad for somebody who maybe he feels like he still has more in the tank and he's stepping away. One of the things he said that kind of resonated with me, he said, I love wrestling, just wrestling doesn't love me back. Hey, man, I mean, we all live and die with the choices we make. But I feel like this is a new dawn for the NWA. I feel like there's a lot of positive momentum now for the NWA on the backs of the 75th anniversary show. So I'm really excited as where we're going next. And there's a lot to talk about, so we'll try to get to all of it today. TV taping starts in another 3 hours. So when Jay Cal's done with you guys tonight, he's heading back to the Skyline Studios. I actually have a ticket tonight, so I should have no problem getting in. Big Media Mike says, all I'm going to say is that I didn't want to post it on social media, but Jay, did you? And can you tell me it was a time for Tyrus to leave the ring? He couldn't even run the ropes right, just due to his height. I mean, I don't want to bury the guy who is now gone, right? Like he did what he had to do, right? He was never a major champion anywhere before coming to NWA. I don't know if Billy felt obligated to make sure that he had a world title to hold on to. But hey, he did his job. He did the job. And now we're free from Tyrus. And Roswell says, so much to talk about today. Yeah, man, a lot. The great Hisa says, what a weekend for the NWA. I think it's what a weekend for everybody, man. I think pro wrestling is at a new level right now. I really feel like the National Wrestling Alliance did their big boy dance on Saturday and Sunday. All new champions with the exception of Tom Latimer. We're going to talk about that too in just a few minutes. Mandy's in the house. What's up, Mandy? How are you? And Roz. I haven't seen Roz in a live pre-party in a while, so I think he feels pretty good about the NWA transition here, this new version of the NWA. Let's see, Sam Retro. Got to meet Sam Retro at the meet and greet. And by meat, I don't mean like M-E-E-T, I mean M-E-A-T, because we was eating barbecue. And Sam Retro was the big trivia contest winner, too. Got that Ricky Morton and Robert Gibson T-shirt and a few other goodies. Let's see. Yeah, it's not my couch. It's the hotel couch. Sorry, I'm just reading comments. The Alliance blog I sent over to a nice tweet to W on your behalf earlier. Well, thanks, man. I really appreciate that. W's been with me all weekend. I mean, full disclosure, guys, I don't have actual W in here. It's just water today. It's kind of hard sneaking a white powdery substance onto an airplane, and I didn't want to get pulled off a plane for smuggling. So my pal Adams here. What's going on? Paladin, no, Tyrus looked terrible. Well, yeah, he did. Of course he did. And I told Scoob this. He looked like a bag of bread, right? You go buy a bread at the grocery store and it's in a white plastic bag or clear bag, whatever. If you were to dunk that in a bucket of water and then pulled it out, that's exactly what Tyrus looks like. Thank you, Scoob, for driving all the way out here to St. Louis. That was like a 12-hour drive. Got to hang out with Scooby. Scooby and I went and checked out some wrestling in Columbia, Illinois. And I'll be talking about that in just a minute. Wrestle Max St. Louis. Fun show. Had a good time. We even had some Eno's pizza, Mr. Scooby and I. That was great. He introduced me to strawberry custard. It was delicious. A great time with Scooby. He also got me a Destroyer mask. It's already packed up. But he got me a Destroyer mask with an autograph on it. So cool, man. I said Destroyer. Yeah, Super Destroyer, right? Pal, you could like him any way you want, man. I'm just glad he's gone. And I guess that sounds abrasive or rude, but like, again, I don't care what politics are in wrestling. I just want you to be able to wrestle. And if you're going to represent the company as a world's heavyweight champion, then you got to look like a world's heavyweight champion. You got to be able to compete like a world's heavyweight champion. You know, could you imagine WWE putting a title on somebody that can't wrestle? Like, say what you will about Roman Reigns, but he can move. Say what you will about MJF, but he's a damn good wrestler. Seth Rollins, a damn good wrestler. I don't even know who the world champion in Impact is, but you get what I'm saying. It's just sad because someone who let it happen due to something he loves. Yeah, I mean, look, it's all a great tragedy, you know, but time is undefeated. Time always wins. Tyrus is 50 years old. And I will say at last year's 74th anniversary show, when he did lose to Trevor Murdoch, that was the best shape I'd ever seen him in. And he wrestled so much better. And honestly, if that was the Tyrus we would have had for the last 8 months, I might have felt a little bit better about this. But we got a Tyrus who did not defend the title but 4 times. We got a Tyrus who did not look like he could move around the ring. These things are going to contribute to not being an exceptional wrestler. If you're not an exceptional wrestler, you shouldn't hold the 10 pounds of gold, period. End of statement. James H. Check said, so many of us were thinking something great happened this weekend. Yeah, something did great happen this weekend. It did feel like a reset. All In was great. Yeah, I didn't watch All In, obviously. I'm not home, but even more so, I've been busy doing NWA things, hood things with my friends. So check this out, and I'll talk just briefly about my weekend. Let me throw this comment down. Flew on Friday, met up with Dave Scooby. We drove to, like I said, Dave drove to, took us to Columbia, Illinois. Got some Eno's Pizza, which is local, I guess, in the Midwest here. Are we in the Midwest? St. Louis, Missouri? I don't know. I don't know what to call it. I guess it's South. I don't know. I'm not great with geography. Anyways, had some Eno's Pizza. Went to the wrestling show. Got to see Misa K. Got to see Tootie Lynn Ramsey. Got to see MLW stars Calvin Tankman and Mance Warner. It was a fun show. Got home pretty late the next morning. Met up with Tim and Raluca. We all went down to have barbecue at the meet and greet, or whatever you want to call it. Got to meet Luthez, got to meet Sam Retro. We all had some delicious barbecue. We were talking wrestling. I have video, but I haven't been able to post it yet. It was real cool. And we did it seemed like there was a gift exchange almost, because everyone brought something to kind of like hand out, give out. We had I don't even have the pins. Fuzz was there. I forgot Fuzz was there as well. Fuzz brought pins that had ham sandwich jabroni on it. So that was pretty cool too. Just a real good, pleasant time. It was positive. We got to St. Louis. We got to the Chase. We all met up there. We saw some crazy stuff with the merchandising. Bought a bunch of stuff from Danny Deals, Double D. He's my new best friend, by the way. I will not tolerate any slander about that man ever again, because he hooked me up last night. So we got to see two great nights of wrestling. Sunday afternoon, hung out with Tim and Raluca. We went sightseeing in St. Louis. Went to the Wax Museum. I forgot about our dinner at Hooters at 1:00 at night. Then we met up at the we all met up at the Chase, hung out again. I had a buddy from Las Vegas show up too, so he sat with us. Got to hang out with a lot of really cool people. Even though like Fuzz was sitting elsewhere, the second night Dave Scooby sat elsewhere. But it was a great night, really fun time, good wrestling. Then it's all blending together. Sunday night, got to hang out with Gary Horn all night as we drove in from St. Louis to Nashville. Got into the hotel room, slept most of yesterday. Then went all the way down to the studios to be churned away, then told to come back, and I got to see last night's taping. So 5 days, 5 different wrestling events. And, I just realized that last night was the first Power taping that I've been to since the first Power taping. So it's been pretty wild. I guess the second actual Power taping. Oh, my bad. I'm sorry, Scooby. Masked Superstar. That was awesome. And I do greatly appreciate it. Once I get some mannequin heads that'll be displayed properly in the podcasting studio. Let's see. Steve G's in the house. Midwest pizza is overrated, but the barbecue is excellent. I did enjoy the barbecue. I liked emos too. Media says the Alliance blog, I effing hate emos. There was real pizza 10 minutes from there. Look, I had real pizza last night. I'd rather have emos. What I had last night was awful. A lot of emos is communion wafer with sauce. Oh man. Let's see, more emo slander. Sam says, I got a major history lesson by Fuzz and Luthez at lunch. That's great, man. Let's see. You guys are chatting up a storm here. I can't keep up with everything. Yeah, Dodie. It is a new era. And this is for Doty. I specifically uploaded some clips that I shot horizontally. There's more vertically that will be posted on the YouTube channel. But I do want to talk a little bit about Friday night because, like I said, Dave Scooby and I went and checked out WrestleMax St. Louis. And this is a show. It's an independent. They brought in some stars from MLW, had some stars from NWA. And I had a great time. Now, of course, Scooby was there, so that enhanced my enjoyment. We actually met a guy there who apparently he said he's at the 75th on Sunday, but I didn't see him. Great wrestling, good wrestling. I'm gonna play a couple of clips. I'll tell you what they are. Like this first one, there was a tag team. This was like a dark match. I don't think it was filmed as part of Wrestling Max's regular content that they produced, but this was a dark match, and I'll show you just a little clip. Their setup was pretty solid for an indie show. And in the next clip, it's a little bit longer. I kind of filmed some of the audience so you kind of get an idea of how many people were there. It was in Turner Hall, which is, I guess, maybe used for weddings or whatever, but it was a big venue had a bar attached to it, which I think is brilliant for pro wrestling. And that matchup was Dan the Dad versus Raheem. And they were wrestling for the River City Championship, which I believe is like their secondary title. And Dan the Dad's whole gimmick is that he's a dad and has like the dad jokes and everything. And he was wrestling like he had a polo shirt earlier before he removed it. Here's a little bit more from their matchup. So I mean, it was good wrestling. It wasn't obviously. I don't think the production was up to like an NWA standard, and it was more of an independent show. It wasn't trying to be something it wasn't, but they did bring in some. They did bring in some big name talent. One matchup was KLD, who I think is a local guy, taking on Calvin the Tank. Butchering his name, the guy from MLW who's now a free agent. Those guys had like a hardcore match where they were using a lot of weapons. The KLD got powerbombed through a table. It's kind of hard to explain the dynamics of that, but the sickening thud of flesh hitting the floor was kind of toe curling, kind of made me gasp. They were using chairs and KLD. I don't know if the video kind of showed it, but like seeing him live, he kind of has the body frame of like a maybe a little bit more stouter Vader, like a very big guy. And I think has a ton of potential. Both those guys, I think, would make good additions to a roster that has a lot of heavyweight wrestlers in the NWA. But of course, they don't have like the physiques that you would picture for most of the guys in the NWA. Here's another clip. It was the birthday wish from ATM to Radic, and I think this was a pretty sweet moment for the show.
Happy birthday!
So yeah, it was kind of a sweet moment. Those guys had a good match, and that's the thing. I don't remember there being a bad match. Now there were some elements in the main event that featured 4 women battling each other that were kind of hokey, but for the most part, it was really good, and it was totally cool to see our very own M95 Misa Kate, who was representing the NWA, holding her women's tag team championship belt. Just heal it up on this, mostly St. Louis crowd. I guess Columbia, Illinois is very close to St. Louis, but because it's 2 different states, there's a different athletic commission. And I guess Missouri is a little bit tougher to have live wrestling events. And so they choose to wrestle in Illinois, but very far from Chicago, where Misa Kate is highly revered as one of their sweethearts. So it was a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it if you were ever in the St. Louis area. If you're out here, to my boys Fuzz and Luthez, they should definitely check out those shows sometime down the road. Willie said to somebody, "I don't love tires. Correct yourself." Matthew Underwood says, "What about a white meat babyface for the roster for the NWA?" Good luck, right? Good luck. I don't think Billy's interested in a white meat babyface. I mean, Robert Anthony could be that guy if they want him to be. Hell, Tom Latimer could be that guy if they want him to be. I just feel like Billy doesn't want that. We saw a lot of heel on heel matches. Even last night, we saw some heel on heel matches. So it's going to be kind of to see how that works out. Mandy says, "I'm sad to see Camille no longer champ. She represents the company so well. It was too soon, in my opinion." Agreed. I agree with that. I was disappointed to see Camille lose the title. Now, I have all the faith in the world that Kenzie's going to make a great women's champion, but I too would have held off on putting the title on Camille. On Kenzie. I would have kept the belt on Camille just a little bit longer. And does anyone fail more upward than Kenzie? She loses the women tag team titles and then becomes the TV champion, loses the TV championship only to become the women's world champion. What happens when she loses the women's world champion? Will she get promoted to the WWE? I don't know. But I was hanging out late on Sunday night and happened to overhear Thrillbilly say to Kylie Paige, who is phenomenal too. She's only been wrestling for like 2 years, like training total 2 years. And Thrillbilly says to her something like, "What kind of pants does your dad wear? Because he must have the best jeans ever." I thought that was pretty great. She has favorite. She has favorite. I'm not sure what you mean on that one. Jody says Billy somehow loved heels. Yeah. Well, I think So I had someone else explain it to me, and I'm going to paraphrase it. A while ago, years ago, Lagana said that, hey, the world has varying shades of gray. And although as a fan of wrestling, I reject that idea for a show, that's kind of what you get with the NWA. And Billy is more interested in exploring the sides of people who, good or bad, this is who they are. And it's up to your own leisure to cheer for who you want to cheer for. So, like Jake Hal's a big Ella Envy fan. I'm going to cheer on Ella Envy when I see her enter the ring, regardless of whether the rest of the audience is booing or cheering. And I think that's kind of what Billy wants. I don't think he necessarily have to boo the bad guy. You don't have to be disinterested in the bad guy. If you want to be a fan of a heel, you go right ahead. Polka Dot Pam is a Chris Adonis fan, regardless of whether he's wrestling in a nice way or in a mean way. So I just figured that's how it is. So Jay, do you add Tyrus or EC3 sign the title? All right, Dodie, you're gonna be, since you asked for it, I'm gonna show it. I did not get Tyrus's signature. I debated on whether I would, but the opportunity wasn't presented. But if you look closely right there, what do you see right next to Japan? Underneath Japan, that's an EC3. I have photos of him signing. Thanks to my pal Gary Horn for setting that up. We did get a new signature on the belts of the 10 pounds of replica. So Roswell says transitional champ. Who do you believe is the transitional champion, Roswell? If Billy was going to change female champions, why did he not put it on Markova? I think he didn't put it on Markova because he didn't feel like Markova was ready to be champion. I think he wanted Kenzie to be champion. And I don't want to spoil what's happening on TV tapings, so I'm not going to go too much into it. But I think they have a different plan for Markova right now. I don't see Kenzie being transitional either. I could be wrong. Hell, she could lose it tonight, right? I don't know. But I don't think she's going to be a transitional champion. I mean, hey, I've been wrong before. I might be wrong again. But I don't foresee that happening. If you guys are interested, I have a few more clips from this weekend. If you don't mind, I'd like to show some of those now. If I can get the comment off the screen. Sorry, Roz. Let's see, where is it? Here we go. The Junior Jamboree was a lot of fun. Jack Cartwheel got over huge with the NWA fan base. I don't think he's here for the TV tapings, but he's a guy that I would love to see become a regular for the NWA. Oh man, sorry. Really thirsty. Kind of dry. Also, a little bit of the clips from the women's TV title match. Max was on another level, man. And Kenzie, what I love so much about Kenzie Paige is when you watch her wrestle, the way she sells. To me, there's another wrestler. Well, Ella Envy's the same way. In Southern California, we have Tyler Bateman. Bateman's one of my favorites to watch because when you watch him wrestle, everything is meaningful. Everything is real. If you watch him punch somebody, he shakes his hand because it hurts. If you see him headbutt somebody, he's holding his head afterwards. It's the little things that he does to make the match more believable. And that's what I'm seeing out of Kenzie. When she is in peril, she's screaming for help. She's looking like she's crying. I mean, her emotions in that match are great. And I don't know if this has a whole lot of it, but check this out. And that, I mean, look, Max is a beast. Anybody who steps in the ring with Max, men or women, should be afraid for their life. The national title was probably one of my favorite matches too. And I really didn't know how they were going to present that match, because up until recently, you had both Kratos and Odinson working as a tag team, and they were taking on Thrillbilly. So I almost thought that this match would be like a 2-on-1 handicap match, but that was not the case. I don't have any clips from last night's TV taping. Again, I'm trying to avoid the spoilers, but this was a pay-per-view. You know, you either watched or know what happens because you're a fan. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, man. I had a really good time at this pay-per-view. And I, you know, in our own Discord, I saw some of the comments that some of you guys weren't thrilled with this pay-per-view. I'm kind of puzzled because we got a lot of forward progression with storylines. We had the conclusion of a couple of storylines, and like I feel like things have transitioned now to a point where we had some good wrestling, we had some title changes, and now we get a new, almost like a clean slate walking into the rest of 2023 and beyond. So I don't know exactly what more could have happened to make people be happier with the pay-per-view. You know, I too mourned the loss of Camille as Women's World Champion. I was surprised that the tag titles didn't get hot-shotted to Murnox. I was surprised that Carrie lost the national champion, or excuse me, the junior heavyweight championship. So it'll be interesting to see how things kind of play out over the next tapings. And of course, there will be a pay-per-view in October. As I previously mentioned, taping pay-per-view in October, Hard Times was in November last year, so I don't know if that pushes Hard Times into December or early January, but just an interesting to see what happens next. Steve G says, Kenzie is too young, and doesn't have the attitude of an NWA champion. I mean, I'll debate you with that one. Attitude of as a champion, I mean, do you feel like she has to have an air of confidence like Camille? Because she's very confident that she's going out there to win the title. She went out there and straight went to Camille and slapped her in the face and said, "This is my ring." I don't feel like that's I don't feel like that's someone lacking confidence. Is it because I get being too young. I hear what you're saying. Personally, I would have kept the belt on Camille too, but playing devil's advocate, I don't see what the negative of Kenzie being women's champion is. Dodie says, somehow being in the smaller girls, I see the women's title have potential to be more competitive if they can do it right. I'll say this. They did crown a number one contender for that women's title, and it's not who you think it is. Double D, what's up, man? Double D, I would have liked to see you in St. Louis. Oh, not that this is 100% certain, but circle your calendars for Crockett Cup 2024, because that will probably be the next Alliance Wrestling Summit. And I'm inviting you all now. More info to come, TBA, TBD. Matthew said, do you find ironic that Jack Cartwheel style was so well received from a fan base that hates flippy, dippy, indie crap? Yeah, it's very funny. And I don't know that you could say that the NWA fan base hates that stuff. I know Jim Cornette isn't a huge fan of it, but I'm a diehard NWA fan, and I love flippy dippy. I love Lucha Libre. I love cruiserweight wrestling. I love high style wrestling. I like the flippy dippy. I like to see Jack Cartwheel do a million cartwheels in one match. I think it's entertaining. I think it's fun. But I know that's also my preference and not everybody else's. I was definitely surprised that Cartwheel got over as well as he did. But at the same time, it's like, I think the fans are smart enough to recognize talent, and they recognize talent. Double D says, Pretty and Power is running effing everything. Like I said, they would be. Hey, Double D, I would like to take partial credit for that because I knew my girl Ella Envy was going to win that tag title for a third time. Did you guys notice that there was no Roxy? What happened to Roxy? She wasn't at the pay-per-view, and I didn't see her last night either. Double E says he's been calling it for 8 months. Okay. Matthew Underwood says that is a sweet Southern Six shirt. Yeah, man, I love it. I picked it up on. Sorry, this couch sucks. I picked it up on Saturday with the plans to wear it tonight. I was wearing Alliance merch all weekend. Jeremy's here. What's up, Jeremy? Bad news, bro. We still have those clowns sticking around. From Jobber of Champions into the champion herself, if we still have Jen 10 pounds of gold documentary, Kenzie's journey can be a story worth the follow. Absolutely. And that's the thing, man. I think for anyone that short sells what Kenzie has done, you got to go look back at where she was, right? What she did. Yes, she came into the NWA as an enhancement, and she worked her way from the bottom to the top. I feel like you have to respect somebody that put in that work, and the transformation in her body, her work ethic, her in-ring skills. She's gotten so much better than the first time you saw her get mauled by the former women's world champion in Camille. And you know what? I really feel like Camille was proud of her. Tonight's as good as if you forgot what happened at the show on the 75 matches. They'll show a few of them for free tonight. Yeah, I don't love this business model that they seem to have done for the last two pay-per-views. I feel like the pre-show is so infinite and long that maybe save some of that. I feel like you could have a few matches filmed for that live pay-per-view audience that don't have to be for the live pay-per-view audience. That pre-show, an hour, I think, is too much. Maybe 30 minutes. I feel like the pre-show should be telling stories to get you excited to buy that pay-per-view. The pre-show should be highlighting the quest between for night one, the matchup was between Natalia Markova and Camille. So the whole pre-show should have been built around selling you on that match. That's why you need to order the pay-per-view. Now, if you throw in one or two matches to go with it that set up storylines later in the show, like the Jamboree Jubilee or the number one contenders match for the tag team titles, you do those two matches and do maybe one or two more matches that don't make it to the pre-show. And then that's your power. It's right there. It's so easy. I don't know why this is such a hurdle for them to overcome. You don't need to have an hour-long pre-show. It's a pre-show. I mean, here we are doing an hour-long pre-party, right? But the pre-show doesn't have to be so long. The pre-show is just to get you excited about the pay-per-view. And it sounds kind of ironic talking about a guy who speaks for an hour to get you excited about a NWA program. All right. Roswell says it's a restart. Yeah, man, and I think that's good. That's what they needed. Look, there's a lot of people. Hey, all right, here's your spoiler. Volunteer Santa Bowl, the Tennessee football team, the Volunteers, their number one fan, Santa, was at the TV tapings last night. I got a picture with them that I don't have able to post, but and I asked him, I said, hey, man, it's good to see you. And he goes, yeah, well, if Tyrus would have won, they would have got my money, but they wouldn't have seen me here. He hated Tyrus as world champion. And I don't argue that, but he would not have come to last night's show if Tyrus was world champion. This is a palate cleanse, man. We all have got that. If you liked Tyrus as a world heavyweight champion, okay, I'm sorry, he's not champion anymore for you. But for a lot of us, we wanted him to go. And I don't know if it was the politics for Sandoval that kept him away, but he certainly made it perfectly clear that if Tyrus would have been there last night defending the world 10 pounds of gold, he would have been there. So, and I know he's not the only one. Let's see. I loved both nights. I also came home drunk from a whole day of golfing both days, so it might have helped. But hey, it was still great, and I called Kerry losing, Thrillbilly winning, Kenzie. Damn good days. A lot of Tennessee gold right now. That's another thing too. James, you joined the Discord by sending me a message, or there should be a link that's functioning in the video description right now. But if it doesn't work, send me a message on any social media, and I will give you the link. It's just it changes. The links end up dying after a while. So if it doesn't work, let me know, and I'll get you a new one. Dodie says, even before Camille era, the junior division always the golden spot for Billy's NWA. So I'm still optimistic it's still good even after Camille. I look at it this way. You have more better junior heavyweights right now than you have ever before. The women's roster has grown. I feel like some of these women that were there at the pay-per-view, well, I know some of these women that made their debuts at the pay-per-view will continue to be here in Nashville, and I feel like that's a benefit for the NWA. So I feel like the women's division is getting stronger. The junior heavyweight division is getting stronger. And honestly, the world's heavyweight title picture looks really solid to me. Because if you're telling me at the top of the list, you have the Tom with his lucky 7 cash in that he can cash in at some point. You got Tom Latimer. You've got Chris Adonis. To a lesser extent, you've got Jax Dane. You've got Trevor Murdoch. Hell, Matt Cardona is still a top name on the independent circuit. That's a good 5 guys right there that any one of them could step in to challenge for the World's Heavyweight Championship. Plus, there's other guys on the roster who right now don't have the victories to make a good match with EC3, but have the talents to have a great match with EC3. And who knows, down the road, maybe Kerry Morton works his way up to a world title shot. Maybe Thrillbilly, Silas Mason, maybe Jack Stain, maybe Mims. Anything can happen. So I'm excited for it, honestly. And like now I know with EC3 carrying the helm, and from what I've been told and what I've listened to and what I've heard, like he's not going to just rest on the laurels of having the title. It sounds like to me he's interested in taking that belt everywhere. So if we get a world's heavyweight champion who, in the same vein of Nick Aldis, in the same vein of Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, if we get a world champion who wants to travel as world's heavyweight champion, is that not an absolute win for the NWA? Is that absolutely a reset for the NWA? I mean, man, get those cameras rolling. Let's do the 10 pounds of gold. Hey, Billy, go have Gary and Will follow EC3 across the globe. Let's get some more 10 pounds of gold out while we're at it, right? Sorry, I kind of jumped the ball there. Or just Billy must do the women's right because NWA will be damned if not. Maybe it's possible. Steve G says Jay Cornette, not a fan of NWA because they fired him. Yeah, look, Jim Cornette, yes, he would probably like the product had he not been fired. Double D says, same G, Sammy Guevara is my favorite guy, and he flips as much as everyone. He flips more than everyone. Him and Cartwheel lead the league in flips. Is Camille's contract expiring soon? I'm not going to try to give away too much. Camille was at the tapings. Camille wrestled last night. I don't know status of contracts. I don't foresee Camille leaving anytime soon, but most of the contracts have expired at the end of the year in the past. Mandy says, overall, I thought this was a good pay-per-view. Max winning a belt was my favorite moment. It's about time. I couldn't agree more. And the thing about the TV titles, and this is something that kind of bothered me, why does the NWA feel like they need to keep these titles on the champions for so long, especially the TV title? Like, honestly, if someone came to me and said, Jay Cal, you're running the TV show from now on, every week would be a TV title match, either the men's or the women's. And in the alternating weeks, there'd probably be a match for a number one contenders. You'd have, in a month, you would have the women's championship defended, the men's championship defended, and number one contenders matches crowned in the entire month, and kind of just build it up that way. The TV title doesn't need to stay on the champion forever. It doesn't. In fact, I don't think all the champions should get to 7. I think most of the champions shouldn't. And Pope didn't get there. Tyrus did. Jordan Clearwater didn't get there. We obviously know that Tom Latimer has. I think that whoever becomes champion next to that TV title, it shouldn't. And the same thing with the women's division. I don't think that they should get close to 7. I think that should be for a special and unique talent. In the meantime, you know, if Max has the title and wrestles Wode and Wode wins, it would shock everybody. But then Max should come back and get the title back. And then if Ruthie J were to win the title, cool, then Max would get it back. And I, again, this is me kind of oversimplifying things, but like, just because you're the champion doesn't mean you have to hold on to that belt for Lucky 7. I feel like that should be reserved for someone extraordinary that you're really trying to push to that next level. In the meantime, you know, what's wrong with having Mims win that TV title, or having Clearwater win that title again, only to lose it, to win it back, to lose it, to win it back? It doesn't have to be something it's not the 10 pounds of gold. It's a championship, but it's not as nearly prestigious. It doesn't have to be. Dodie says, oh, wait, my mistake. I mean, not junior division, but the women's division. That's fair, Dodie, that's fair. Women's division, I think, has always been good. Jeremy says he's grinding it out at work for the top of the hour so he can clock out. Good man. Good man. Mike says their so-called pre-show would be a warm-up, but hey, they use it as a preliminary undercard match. It should be one or the other than last half hour of the show. 2 or 3 matches with time. Keep the cards smaller in matches, better in quality. Yeah. It's not rocket science. And when the WWE used to do this, I remember back in the day when you would order a pay-per-view, you could go to the pay-per-view channel and they would show some of the matches, but there would be a lot, and I mean a lot, of hype in between the matches. So you would get maybe 1 match, maybe 2 matches, but then you'd have the backstory of why this match is taking place, why the main event's happening, why the semi-main event's happening. And that was the whole point of it, was to get you to like, oh wow, that makes sense, I want to see this match now. Order the pay-per-view. It wasn't that you'd get like a whole separate show. I don't think that was ever the intention. Mike says, I didn't mind Tyrus as champion, however, I wasn't happy with his in-ring ability, regardless of Fox News. Same. Dodie says, at least we cannot refuse modernization, and the NWA must come to terms with 1 or 2 flippy, floppy spot monkeys. But like monkeys, it's only good when the population is under control. That's fair. Okay. Look, you know what? I think one of my favorite rivalries in WCW was Dean Malenko and Rey Mysterio. Dean Malenko was very grounded and a great base for Rey Mysterio. Dean Malenko focused on the very scientific mat in-ring wrestling, whereas Mysterio was a high flyer, and almost to the point of being like a suicidal type, like Sabu almost style of wrestling. And they complemented each other very, very well. Very well. So, I don't know. There's that. Mike. The Alliance blog knew Kenzie would win. However, wasn't happy with how she won, and announcer said nothing really of it. The turnbuckles, yes, she hit it. They said it, but that's it. Should have been more exemplified on that one notion. I guess they didn't want to discredit the win. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a win that keeps Camille strong. Remember, she's 1 time. She might not ever hold the title again, but she also might become 2-time. You know, a saying is only a saying until it's no longer a saying. You know what I'm saying? How do you feel about Carrie moving up? I feel it's too soon, and there's plenty of story that could be made into. And frankly, it's better to be a small heavyweight. Kerry needs a lot of work. I think Kerry has proven that he is on the precipice of being a draw in the world of independent pro wrestling. Matt Cardona versus Kerry Morton was a great first step into seeing Kerry Morton and Matt Cardona in a GCW ring, in a battleground ring. And this could be one of the bigger feuds on the independents if they choose to do it. If the independent world decides to do it. If not, Kerry Morton, you know, he's one of these guys that has a lot of tools but needs to, you know, kind of tighten everything up a little bit. I don't know what more he could do with the junior heavyweight. He took the title to Australia, took the title to Mexico. He defended in Canada and all over the United States. I think it's, although I would not have taken the title off of him myself, Colby Corino is another guy that could do a lot as world junior heavyweight champion. Let's see what Colby can do. And I'm all right with that. I'm totally all right with that. If Kerry desires to be a heavyweight, then he's going to have to transform his body a little bit and work on it. We'll see. We'll see. Unless I watch Dragon Gate, that's the promotion to be. If you love flipping floppies. Let's see, before you can, I think, Kerry needs a lot of work before he can stand toe-to-toe with Tom. Well, that's true, man. I mean, but he stood toe-to-toe with Matt Cardona, and it wasn't it wasn't off-putting. It wasn't terrible. Cardona has a better body, yep. But I don't feel like Kerry was outclassed by Cardona. Double D says Southern 6 is taking down EC3. I mean, stranger things could happen. The Alliance blog, what a effing joke with Car Dummy and his challenge. Ricky effing Morton. Come on, man. How many effing ways is Billy going to find a way for Ricky to wrestle? This was just to lead to the match with Kerry. It's not going to go anywhere. Why would Cardo Pay want to do this with the heel versus heel? I don't. Again, the heel versus heel dynamic, Billy has no qualm with doing. Right, that's something we saw a lot of this weekend. But if you needed someone to defend, and I'm just playing devil's advocate here too, because I would not have put Kerry. I would not have put that match with Ricky Morton, and I did not think about Kerry Morton in this role. But you know, if someone needed to defend the honor of the NWA, who is more likely to do that than Ricky? Ricky is the NWA. In a lot of ways, he still is the NWA. And it's not like, Tim Storm could have been another good choice, but he already had a match. And thankfully, he survived it. But obviously, we know that the match didn't end the way he had hoped for. But thankfully, he's okay. But that would have been the guy that I think I would have chose had he not already been married to Jax. And then also Jax Dane would have been another good guy. I'm talking about two of the former world heavyweight champions. Either one of those guys would be a good match for Cardona. They went with Kerry, or they went with Ricky, who is a former world junior heavyweight champion, has lots of challenges for the 10 pounds of gold, and is a former 8-time world tag team champion. Held that title in every decade since 1980, 1986, 1990s, and the 2000s, and the 2010s, right? Because they won the title in 2019. I mean, four decades of Ricky Morton holding that tag team title. Not just Ricky Morton, but the Rock and Roll Express. So yeah, as much as I'm not a fan of Ricky Morton, who would have been better? James says, I feel Billy had to move the women's belt so he didn't get caught with his champ signing with another promotion. Camille will be getting vocal about wanting more. I don't see Camille going anywhere, to be quite honest. Not yet, not now. Especially because it feels like the NWA is moving in a positive direction. We just had Jade Cargill in AEW. What did they do with her? They just took the belt off of her. Now, I feel like Camille is a better worker than Jade Cargill. I feel like they just did that. They just had that kind of a champion. And that's not to sour on Camille. I think Camille's great. But how is she different? How is she going to be a different look? And when you look at the women's division in AEW, it's packed with Saraya, Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter. Who knows? Thunder Rosa will be coming back sometime. Kushida, and I haven't gotten the secondary names like Nyla Rose and some of the other women of that brand, right? And then you go to the WWE, and it's like you've got Rhea Ripley and Io Shiara, and there's rumor that Kairi Sane might be coming back, and then you've got Asuka, who's one of my favorites, and then we haven't even mentioned Charlotte Flair and or the Man. So there's a ton of women talent in both AEW and in the WWE, and is Impact at this point, is that more prestigious than the NWA, or is it better for Camille to be there than the NWA? And I don't know the answer to that. I would initially say no, but money's money. The contract is contract. Wherever she's getting paid the most, that's where she should be wrestling. Mike says 10 pounds of gold has to be selective, or it will be political on EC3's end. So can't travel everywhere. I'll leave it at that. Has to be only wrestling match related. I mean, that's fair. I don't think I'd want it much more than that, anyways. Dodie says, I can see EC3 can be made into Nick Aldis 5 champion, even in a chaotic way now. Treat him right as the face of the company. I mean, that's kind of what it feels like. I could be wrong, but that's what it feels like. Mike says, yeah, the Max match was brilliant. For Max to win, perfect big versus little match, done very effing well. So almost oh, jeez. I'm not going to read that. Furthermore, doesn't Kerry moving to stifle the forever feud with Colby? And you're spot on about the TV division. Maybe, but I mean, at some point, every junior heavyweight that's been on TV in the last 20 years has efforted to move up to the heavyweight division. We saw it with Chris Jericho. We saw it with Chris Benoit. We saw it with Eddie Guerrero. All those guys tried to move up to Rey Mysterio. We have always seen these guys take those next steps into becoming the heavyweight division. And until the point comes where the World Junior Heavyweight Championship is as significant as the World's Heavyweight Championship, that's always going to be the case. So to that point, no, I don't see that being a problem. And maybe at some point, Colby Corino will want to step into the heavyweight division. Oh, we didn't even get to that yet. The Dice Man returning. Yes, Zicky Dice made his return to the NWA this weekend. And he wasn't just at the pay-per-views. Spoilers, he was at the TV tapings as well. So hopefully we get a lot more Dice Man in the coming weeks. Matthew Underwood says, all in pre-show was on fire this weekend. Okay. That was cool to see Zicky there with a different look. Yeah, I wasn't used to seeing Zicky with like eye makeup and what appeared to be mascara. I'm used to seeing Zicky Dice kind of the way that we've been seeing him presented in Impact. But I'm not against more Zicky Dice in the NWA. Billy tried so hard to get all of his roster on the pay-per-view. The result is too many matches, and somehow they feel exhausted. Maybe Billy needs to understand that everyone need to be in pay-per-view. I mean, there's a lot of guys who I was expecting to see in the pay-per-view that I didn't. Jeremiah Plunkett wasn't there. Let's see. Kerry is on his way to being the man, and that kid is great. And he's gotten so much better. Like I was very critical of Kerry when he first joined the NWA. I thought he looked really green, but the fact is that steel sharpens steel, and he's tested his metal out on the independents, and he's worked everywhere. And I feel like he's really gotten not only his fitness and his physicality is bigger now, but he's also he's really had some good matches where I think he's taken it to the next level. Retro, you think Kerry's got heat with me? Brother. There's no heat with me and Kerry. Look at this. Look at that smile. He was happy to take that photo with me. He only had to ask once. I was ready to take a photo with him. And no big deal at all. I said, hey, aren't you J Cal? I said, yes, I am. Can I have a photo? You sure can. You can have one t-shirt. Obviously, I'm being facetious, right? Let's see. Dodie says, we need more EC3 vignettes either on episode or on YouTube and the other social media. Make him narrating the Fendu belt commercial, show as the face of the NWA as possible. I know that, I know for a fact he did a lot of behind the scenes filming with the NWA, so hopefully we'll see more stuff soon. Steve G says, Jay, who is the lady that replaced May Valentine? I'll be honest, I didn't catch her name. I know the guys in the chat know. I know Sam Retro knows it. Dave Scooby knows it. She's from MLW, and I guess she had an opportunity with the NWA at some point earlier. But I guess she's going to be filling in for May this set of tapings. I would have preferred, Mike says, I would have preferred Cardona versus Knox. History there, nothing done. Have Knox come out since anyone can answer the challenge. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with Knox coming out either. Like, in fact, that was one of my suggestions too. But I feel like in this particular moment, Kerry was in terms of capitalizing on the NWA. Kerry Morton is the NWA. Excuse me, Ricky Morton is the NWA. He's part of the life force. When he dies, he will be a forced ghost for the NWA, and he will coach the young wrestlers on how to be better, much like the young Jedi and an Obi-Wan Kenobi or a Yoda type ghost. I really feel like he is part of the essence of the NWA. Same thing with Ric Flair. The minute you say Ricky Morton, even though I don't care for him as a wrestler, I think of the NWA. When you mention Ric Flair, I think of the NWA. When you mention Arn Anderson, I still think of the NWA. Ricky Morton will always be that for me. And in essence, I'm okay with him playing that role. Now, granted, there were other options, but I feel like that's not a bad one. Camille would get lost in AEW. She'd join the likes of Wardlow, Archer, etc. Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Willie says, will the Savages compete for the World Tag Team titles? Willie, during the pay-per-view, it almost looked like the Savages might have broken up. I mean, during that national title battle royal, the 21-man battle royal for the number one contendership for the national title, it seems as though that Jax, after being thrown out by Bulletproof Troop, might have ended his allegiance to Chris Silvio and the Savages. Roswell says, I hope the NWA channels a lot of talent throughout, and those who need to get into storylines do something with Derby City United Wrestling Network. Roswell, I hear you, right? But I don't think that Billy Corgan wants to be associated with Dave Marquez. We know that guys who aren't exclusive to the NWA have appeared in Derby City. Chris Adonis had just recently appeared for Derby City, or not Derby City, but Memphis. And Camille in the past has appeared on Memphis. But I don't think you're going to see a lot of NWA talent appear in Derby City or in Memphis often, but I could be wrong. Jody says, as long as Tom can still talk, we want to see the last of we won't see the last of Camille in the NWA, even if she's not renewing her contract next year. Just a matter of time until she returns to the NWA, even if she leaves now. I don't think Camille's going anywhere. James says EC3's killing it on socials. That's awesome. Lions blog, the premiere is 60 minutes, August 29th at 7 p.m. Notify me. NWA night 1, 3 free matches. Pitcher is Max Impalier. Okay. Double J says, Kerry's working me. Hey, maybe he is, man, but he was nice enough to ask to take the photo with me, so I'm not going to be upset. I don't know, Jay. I got a video of Kerry looking at you kind of crazy during the Cardona match. He flipped off for Luca, not me. Willie Bone, we need EC3 material from you now. Willie, you have to hate EC3 now. I don't think Willie hates EC3. I think Willie had a reason to hate Tyrus, and his whole gimmick was hating Tyrus, not the world champion. Even if Camille leaves the NWA next year, I hope the NWA Women's Division keeps building better and better. And by the time Camille returns, it will be the division worthy of raising her adrenaline to the max. It's fine. I think the women's division's fine right now. I think it's getting better. I think it's slept on by too many people. Rock and roll forever. Woo! Oh, man. You know what? You guys should probably be watching Power now, but I'm going to finish with your comments, and then I'll end the show when we're done with the comments. Matt said, I was hoping for Mance Warner to pop up this weekend. Wasn't he at the indie show you went to Friday, Jay? Yeah, he was, but I think isn't he under MLW contract? I don't know. I think he might be. He's working on that, Matt. Cool. Love you, brother. Switching to Power. Enjoy, my friend. Is seeing Troop up close person. Dude's huge. Yeah, well, see, Troop used to be a commentator for Championship Wrestling. In fact, he used to do some commentary for the Primetime Live product. His first wrestling match was in a Primetime Live ring against Jordan Clearwater. You know who was there with him? Chris Silvio. There's your history lesson. Double D says, wait, where's Power? I don't know, man. I thought Power was supposed to be on right now. Roswell says, I mean to bring in talent to NWA in that manner. The NWA has ran into issues of not having top competitors for the title holders, not a partnership with the United Wrestling Network. I know where Dave stands. Okay, cool, Ross. Cool. Willie says, now tell your Makova will get Burke women's title soon. Okay. I mean, I don't know, bro. I don't know. I think Markova, obviously Billy has a plan. He has a plan for the women division. We'll see what happens next for Markova, for Camille, for Kenzie. We'll see what happens next. I'm not convinced that Markova will be the next women's world champion. Mike says, yes, and that dude is due to Silvio training Troop for pro wrestling. Yeah. And Mike says, so see Silvio and Troop turn on Dane soon. I think we saw it at the pay-per-view. I think that was it. I think that was what we saw. And Roswell says, yes, you will. All right, man. We'll see. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to this on-the-road edition of the pre-party. 5 days, 5 events. I'm about to get out of here to go to another one. More comments. All right. I'll stick around for a little bit longer if you guys are here. Let's see. Oops, there it goes. NWA YouTube says tonight at 7, but it's not Power. Yeah, it's supposed to be like a recap from the pay-per-view. Yes, but there will be more. Great stream, Jay. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. I'm obviously a little run down from the weekend, but I had a good time talking to you guys. It's always a good time. Dodie says the Burker TV title first. Natalia is great talent, and I waste no time to crown her with any. Yeah, I look. Now that Max is women's TV champion, she needs an opponent to wrestle for the TV title. Maybe Markova will be that person. Maybe Markova will be the person to cash in that lucky 7 next. I don't know, but I don't think that. I don't think Kenzie's just a transitional champion, is what I'm saying. The Gathering of the Alliance. What event is that for again, Jay? We're going to look at Crockett Cup, which will probably be in the springtime of 2024. I think that will be a good one. Hopefully, we'll see if that goes. Anyone got a screenshot of Morton flipping off my wife? She's been anointed by the king, baby. That's right. Bring back Genocide. I don't think you'll see Genocide in the NWA with Chris Silvio still around. No, do it in Knoxville. Maybe we'll. I don't know, man. We'll see. Hey, Raluca, it was a great weekend, but come on. I love wrestling, but even I think 5 days and 5 shows is a bit excessive. But I'll never forget our chats at the Hooters at 1 a.m. with Treasure. She was a treasure. Let's see. Mike says, I didn't realize it starts at 7 tonight. Oh, so I guess we're going a little bit later then. Tell the affiliates we're going to run late. Matthew Underwood. Okay, look, man, I'm going to say this. If FTR is in Crockett Cup, I'm rooting for FTR. Not because I don't love the NWA, but because FTR is one of the greatest tag teams of this modern day and age. So hell yeah, I'd be okay with that. Power starts at 7. Oh man. Mike says, got any pictures of Treasure? Unfortunately, I don't. Oddly enough, she kind of looked a little bit like Ruthie J, the NWA's Ruthie J. Power is at 7. All right, guys, we'll tune in at 7. Heart to Heart and Hooters, a new special on Harmark. A couple from Canada meet a man from the U.S. Wait, that doesn't sound like. Wait a minute, hold on. Never mind. Done with that. Lady Frost. Yeah, Lady Frost is great. I don't think she's coming to the NWA anytime soon. Ruthie J, but on crack. Yeah, I think we got what you were trying to say there, Reluca. No, we didn't. No, we didn't take pictures of. Who goes to Hooters and take pictures of the waitresses? I don't go to any restaurant and take pictures of the waitresses. But I mean, maybe you could ask Fuzz or Lou Fez to do that. It's the Hooters in St. Louis, I guess. Make sure they go to the late night hours. You guys are awesome. I don't think I could say that, Luca, but Rick, Mike can't see it. I guess I have to post it. I'm not saying it though, but I'm only posting that so Mike will read it. There's still 20 of you in here, and that's pretty amazing. I guess you guys really are just waiting for our power to start. Matthew says, was Allison Kay at the tapings? No, Allison Kay was not at the TV tapings. I know for a fact that she had bookings after the pay-per-view, so I think she was just there for a one-off. Now, this is kind of the thing about the NWA. You know, talents. Let's rewind a little bit. I'm going to take you back in the time machine to about 2012, and we're going to go back to the Wayback Machine and talk about the do-it-yourself movement that was kind of premiered by guys like Colt Cabana and the Young Bucks, even Scrap Iron Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce made the documentary, The 7 Levels of Hate, which was very do-it-yourself, and he was doing that at a point in time where that wasn't something that was really happening. Also, like, you know, Colt Cabana had this hit podcast that not everybody was doing. The Young Bucks kind of had their this crazy run with merch. We saw like pro wrestling tees kind of become a thing because of guys like Cabana and the Young Bucks. And so as this whole progression of the do-it-yourself movement was happening, Colt Cabana became NWA World's Heavyweight Champion for a second time. The NWA at the time was being ran by Bruce Tharp. When the decision was made that the new ownership was taking over, they found it increasingly difficult to work with Colt Cabana. Not because Cabana was some sort of dick or jerk or anything like that, but Cabana was a hot commodity. Cabana was booked to work everywhere. And the rumor was that they wanted Cabana to hit the door running as NWA World's Heavyweight Champion when they end of 7 Levels of Hate. The problem was he was booked out like almost 2 months in advance. And so the NWA couldn't get dates with him. And the NWA wasn't prepared to be as on the ball as Colt already was. So when Colt, they decided they didn't want to work with Colt because they couldn't lock him down for dates. And I feel like in some regards, that's the NWA today. Some of the talent that aren't locked under contract, they're out there getting dates. Matt Cardona was out getting dates. Allison Kay is out there getting dates. They have popularity and recognition that people want them on their cards. So somebody like Matt Cardona, they must have locked this date down quite in advance to have him on these 2 days of the anniversary show. But I'm pretty sure is not going to be at the tapings because he's got other places to work. And likewise, I don't believe that Allison Kay was going to be at the TV tapings the next night. She wasn't even at the pay-per-view the next night. James, yeah, absolutely. I'm not trying to give away any spoilers, but I was just pointing out certain people weren't there. Sorry if that. I'm not trying to affect the show for you. I apologize if it did. Alliance Gold says Hooters. We asked Hooters. Jay screamed. Oh God, damn it! I need to read. See, Alliance. Hey Tim, now I have to start censoring you as well. Jeez. I didn't want to go there. That was the only place that was open. But some of the cool things that we did get to do that we hadn't talked about yet was, the before the pre-show started on Saturday, there was a lot of the wrestlers would kind of hang out in the merch area before the show. So there was Impalier was there. And they were holding court for a little bit. The next night, Ricky Morton was out holding court for a little bit. I got to hang out with Pollo for a few minutes after the show on Sunday. They had some great deals with merchandise. Like they had a buy a mystery bag for $20 that had 4 T-shirts. You just told them your size and handed them a 20. Double D Danny deals that hook you up. Okay, let's see. Matthew Underwood says, any new info on the plan for the Halloween tour? Are they Smashing World is a Vampire tour? Are they working with locals? Will we see that footage? Will it be continuity? So I don't know what the plan is with the World is a Vampire footage. That would have been a great thing to share tonight. But at this point, a lot of that material is now dated because almost every championship changed hands at the pay-per-view. So there was only 4 matches only 4 Smashing Pumpkin concerts contain wrestling. And I don't know if or how much footage was shot from that. But 100% Matthew Underwood, that would have been a great idea to do that as opposed to a recap show from a pay-per-view that just aired 2 nights ago. So I guess that's going to wrap it up. I guess I don't have anything else to talk about. Do you guys have anything else you would like to say? Put your questions now in the chat before I say goodbye. All right, fantastic then. Tomorrow night, you're going to have Dave Scooby, Jeremy, I hope Jeremy, unless he's working, and our very own Alliance Gold Tim, as they discuss the fallout of night number 1 in detail. They're going to go over the pay-per-view and talk about it. And then on, I believe Dave Scooby's going to have some fantasy booking, and I don't know for sure if there's going to be any more United Wrestling Network talk. Tony. And then on the flip side, on Thursday night, I will be home by then. The other Alliance, the original Alliance guys, myself, DKM, and Jaden will be discussing the new world champion. And we'll also be discussing night number 2 of the pay-per-view. I'm sure I'll talk a little bit more about the events that happened this weekend and just in wrestling in general. So make sure you join us for that. Of course, the podcast is updated infrequently, but very frequently. I don't have regular updates, but I do them as often as I can. At the last episode, we go and deep dive into the Wrestling Max St. Louis pay-per-view. Make sure you check that out. I do appreciate all of you guys being here, keeping me company while I'm in Nashville, Tennessee. And we're going to call it a day and let my voice rest a little bit. So we're going to end this show here. But so grateful for the weekend I got to spend with the Alliance. We truly are the Alliance. And the NWA got to see that firsthand. I mean, every T-shirt that you guys bought, every ticket that we had scanned, that front row of Nothing But Alliance Wrestling Summit T-shirts, that was awesome. And I was very proud to be a part of that. I was proud to see my friends there. I was proud to be representing this brand with you guys. And I know that the world got to see that. I know that the NWA got to see that. And I think that's pretty cool. So for the last 4 days, I've been seeing you at the matches. And tonight I will be seeing you at the matches. So have a good night. And I'll see you at the matches.
Thanks for checking out the Pre-Party, a presentation of Alliance-Wrestling.com. You should hit that subscribe button and join our community. I also want to remind you that we recap NWA POWERRR every Thursday at 8 p.m. in the live stream. We try to stay social, so find us at the Alliance blog. And until next time, we are the Alliance.